I also don't know why I insist on filming this late at night with coffee on my system, but it's all good. It's what we do over here. That just reminded me of this song. Hello book reading friends, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. My name is Melanie, and today I bring you an entire video on how I organize my life. I will be giving you an entire Notion tour where I show you my setup that I personally use to amplify my time, my productivity, and to keep everything in order so that I know exactly what I'm doing, when I need to get stuff done, and to maximize my reading as well. I will also be going through my bullet journal, which I have found recently also helps me manage my time a little bit more wisely, and that I have been also finding therapeutic while it helps me organize my life. I teased this video a while back when I did my reading goals for 2021, and I told you guys if you wanted to see like a Notion setup, a Notion tour, and a lot of you requested that video, so I am here to deliver. I am here to show you guys exactly how I do everything, because if I'm being honest, I am a sucker for organization. I learned when I was about 17 or 18 years old, which was when I started working, that I could not live my life without organization. I'm the type of person, and maybe not everyone is like that, but I'm the type of person I need to write every single thing that I need to do down, have reminders, I need to brain dump. I just need to put everything in writing to make sense of it, to then actually execute it in the most precise manner possible, if that makes sense. And before I jump in and get carried away with showing you guys everything, because honestly, I am so excited to be making this video, I need to give a massive thank you to today's sponsor, which is Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of classes for creatives, all the way from creative writing to lifestyle, productivity, even to journaling, photography, videography, every single thing that you can imagine Skillshare has in their website. Skillshare is honestly one of the best tools to use to explore new skills, to hone those passions that you have, or to broaden your horizons and find new things that you never even thought you would be able to do. Because we are on the subject of productivity, organization, and how I organize my time and my life, I have found some perfect classes on Skillshare to help me come up with my own system that works for me, that is catered for me, and that is unique to what I need and use on an everyday basis. One in particular is the Productivity Masterclass, The Pilot, the Plane, and the Engineer by Ali Abdaal, that is created to help you improve your personal productivity and build upon the foundation that he laid out on his very first masterclass on Skillshare. Now again, the cool thing about these productivity classes on Skillshare is that everything will be catered to you, because although the class is universal, you will be able to narrow down on exactly what works for you based on what you are learning here. The other cool thing about Skillshare is that it's curated specifically for learning, which means that there are no ads and they are constantly launching new premium classes for you to continue your creative journey. And Skillshare has been super kind to us because they have provided a link that you will find on my description, and the first 1,000 people to click that link will actually get a free trial of Skillshare Premium. That way you can explore everything that Skillshare has to offer, and if you want to continue with your subscription, it's less than $10 for an annual subscription. So yeah, without further ado, let's get right into it. Alright, so starting with the actual organizational part of the video, the first thing I'm going to be talking about is actually Notion. Notion is an app that I discovered about a year ago now, and this is what I've been using as my creative hub. This is where I write down absolutely everything, from what I'm reading to the videos I want to create, to my book reviews, to my content calendar, to my quarterly goals, to my big goals. Everything that I want to do, accomplish, everything is in Notion. Now, I do obviously use Goodreads. I think Goodreads is a great tool to also keep a track of your reading. We all know Goodreads needs a ton of updates. It isn't as optimized as it could be. The website is incredibly slow. I have seen some improvements, but overall, the website has stayed consistently the same for years. So although I do use Goodreads, I also use Notion hand in hand with that. Now, the cool thing about Notion is that it's completely customizable. They have a bunch of templates, so regardless of what you want to do, they probably already have a pre-made template that you can use, whether that's an Excel-like sheet where you can keep track of your reading, all the way to finance templates, to resumes. They literally have every single template imaginable, so it's incredibly easy to go into this platform and navigate it because everything is pretty much laid out for you. So I really do want to have an entire different hub in Notion for my personal life. So this is mostly just like work, books, this is where it's at for me. I have two quotes in particular: to the stars who listen and the dreams that are answered. As you guys know, that's like my main quote for 2021. And I also have, it is never too late to be what you might have been. And again, life is what you make of it. You have to manifest things. So I am just making sure to translate that as well into my Notion spread. To the right hand side, I also have a space that is called plan. Right now it is empty because I am filming this video super late at night. It is currently 10:50 p.m. But around this time of day or late afternoon, depending on how many things I had written down in that area, I'll start planning out the following day. So let's say 8 a.m. for me is my wake up time. I'll put in wake up time and the hour that I need to do that. Let's say that 10 a.m. for me is the time where I need to start filming. And you can make them pretty. You can highlight the time, let's say, and you can put that as a mark as code, and that'll put it in a little red time. And let's say that you want Notion to remind you that at 10 a.m. you need to start filming. You can highlight 10 a.m. and then you can go into the at portion and you can say remind tomorrow at 9 a.m. And so it'll alert you at 9 a.m. that at 10 a.m. you need to film, and you can customize all of those things as well. Now, going into the nitty-gritty of Notion, I have several spreads that I constantly use on an everyday basis. Now, my reading list is the one that I use in conjunction with Goodreads. In here, I keep track of a lot of different things. I keep a track of every single book that I have read throughout the year, and I pop in my rating, the author, whether it was an arc or not. I also keep a track of my physical TBR and the arcs that I want to request or the arcs that I have yet to read. And then after that, I have my tabbing system. I do have an entire video on my annotation process, so I will leave that link down below in case you guys want to check it out. And right beside that, I have my 2021 reading goal, which, as you know, it is 75 books. And then I have my current read, which is Amari and the Night Brothers, as I am filming this. And right below that, I have the amount of books I have read versus my yearly goal. And the cool thing about this, you can open a particular book and you can write your entire review on here. Now, I will say, thanks to Joel from Fictional Fates, I found an entire template of bookish prompts that you can use to review a book, and that also helps me really nail down that star rating that I want to give a book. So I will make sure to leave a link down below to The Quiet Pond, who made an entire blog post on bookish prompts that you can use for your own reviews. Other things that I use in Notion go along the lines of a content calendar. This is just a place where I can actually write down every single video that is going up, on what date and what category it is, whether it's booktube, whether it's a bookstagram post, whether it's a makeup Instagram post. I can write everything down in this content calendar and I can see exactly when things are going up. That way I can also know when I need to have stuff ready, if it's a deadline or if it's a particular uploading time that I have set for myself. As you guys know, I am super active here on YouTube, so my goal is always to upload 2 to 3 videos a week for y'all, but also to go live at least once a week, but I always try to make that 2 Wednesdays and Fridays, as you guys know. So I personally find that writing all of these things down will really motivate me to get these things done in time and to actually execute them in the most efficient way possible. Another spread that I really use in Notion is my booktube spread, just because these are all of my video ideas. Now, what I do with this one is that I write down every single video idea that I have. I have color coded every single one of my playlists just that I'm aware of what exactly the video is about. So again, just very nitpicky things that I personally use to make sure that everything is going up in time, and that if I personally don't have any ideas at the top of my head, I can just right on pick that up and film that particular video. I am also the type of person, maybe I'm the only one, I'm sure I'm not, that I find myself constantly challenged by the idea of writing down every single idea that I have for a video, and so I constantly want to keep adding more. That way I can also see the ratio between the amount of ideas that I wrote down and the amount that I actually ended up executing. One of my personal favorite parts of Notion is actually writing down goals. There are actually sections in which you can also create your dream board, where you can manifest all of those things that you want or want to accomplish. So I'd really recommend doing all of that. I know I had a dream board in Notion last year, and actually all of those things I managed to accomplish because I stared at that thing at least 3 times a week, and I continuously pushed myself to achieve those things up until I did. So having a dream board in Notion, honestly, 10 out of 10. But one of the most important things besides setting those big goals for yourself is creating micro micro goals. And I find these goals are the best thing to have happen to me. Not only are they realistic, you can always push harder for those little goals. And once you achieve that, you can start changing them up until you get to that big goal. And that just keeps your motivation at an all-time high where you can continuously work towards that bigger goal, but in a smaller level where you will never feel discouraged. And again, there's ways that you can do that in Notion. I personally have quarterly goals, and this is actually a template that I found. I will make sure to leave her template down below as well. There's a bunch of templates that you can download for Notion too, just to make sure that it's the cutest that it can be. And this is what I took out the most from that particular template because I really wanted to make sure that all of my goals were in here. And that's basically it for Notion. I'm trying to keep it short and sweet so as to not saturate y'all with too much information. But as you could see, Notion is the main thing that I use for content creation, the very nitty-gritty aspect of it, the heaviest part, just because it's easier to lock things in digitally than write down everything by hand. So that is where I keep most of the heavy-handed stuff. And again, it's the little things. Logging all of these things in Notion really helps me stay motivated throughout the year. When I keep adding things, I just feel so accomplished. When I put a little check mark in a to-do list, it feels extra rewarding to know that you actually accomplished that thing that you set out to do in a short amount of time. Now for journaling, as you know, I used to say that I could not journal to save my life. I commended the people that journaled, and I preached that I would never journal because it was too much for me. I did not have the patience, and that is the biggest lie I ever told on the internet because I love journaling now. I thrive in journaling. I open my journal every single morning, every single night, and it's again the little things in life of just scratching something that you did, of filling in the days that you read, that makes it feel like you accomplished the biggest feat ever. I do have two separate journaling videos here on my channel, which is like my 2021 setup, and then I have my February setup. I will make sure to leave those linked down below as well in case you want to check those out and see how I personally did my bujo. I also have a days read tracker. That way I can track what days I have read physically, what days I have read an audiobook. Doesn't mean that I'll read absolutely every single day. It's not mandatory for me to read every single day, but that's a nice way to say I read for an hour today, even if it was an hour, and I'm gonna fill it in, and it was progress. And I find, for me at least, reading an hour in the morning and reading an hour at night helps me burn more pages and read a little bit faster. So it's all about micromanaging your goals and really figuring out what works for your routine. If you know you have an extra hour during the day that you can read, you can squeeze a little bit of that in, and you will see not only will you read faster, you will also get through a lot more books, obviously. I find myself more motivated to keep a track of my habits and my mood in my written down journal as opposed to Notion. Even last year, I found myself barely reaching for my habit tracker there because I was in Notion for those big things, for those video ideas, for those brain dumps, for that content calendar. That is what I found myself there for. And here I can actually pay attention to the smaller things because as I turn the page, I will actually pay attention to the habit tracker and say, oh, right, I worked out today. Let me circle that one. And obviously with the journal, it is very easy to create weekly spreads, which again will help me get more things done. I don't necessarily write them by hour, but what I do is that I just write down all of the things that I need to do that day, and I will start scratching them off as I do them, especially because it's not exclusive to reading and uploading videos as my Notion is. In here, I write stuff down that is more personal. And another thing that I condense down on my bullet journal is because I have monthly spreads, it's easier to figure out exactly what you want to do for that particular month. So as opposed to Notion, where I write down everything that I want to do for the year, for the quarter, what I do in my journal, I have a content idea spread where I write down all of the videos that I potentially want to upload that particular month. And that is also a nice way to motivate myself to say I have 10 ideas written down. So that means I can put up an average of 3 videos a week. And that's when I know where to place what for every single week and to determine what videos I want to upload per week. What I find particularly incredible about the bullet journal is that therapeutic aspect of it. Now, again, I found myself saying I do not have the patience, I do not have the time, but whenever I sit down with my journal, it's a very personal experience. I am sitting down, I am not paying attention to what's happening around me. It's just me drawing, doodling, filling stuff in, and there is something so cathartic about that experience, so therapeutic. It's just a downtime that I can can personally use to not worry or stress, which does sound kind of crazy considering the fact that I am writing down all of the things that I need to do, all of the things that I need to accomplish, but that doesn't necessarily equal to stress. So I think it's the painting aspect, the doodling aspect of the journal that makes it a lot more therapeutic as opposed to doing something digitally or having only a calendar. It's obviously a very creative tool and you can customize that also to whichever way you want. You don't necessarily need to have all of these doodles. You can keep it very practical and minimalistic. There's a bunch of different spreads that you can find online to take inspiration from, and that's the beauty of the bullet journal. It's completely your own. And then going into the apps that I personally use to organize myself, I use, obviously beside Notion, for reading I use Goodreads, as I have talked about before. Love-hate relationship with Goodreads, but that is also a very helpful tool. You can create different shelves for books written by Black authors. You can write down your LGBTQ plus books that you have DNF'd, your all-time favorite books, all of the books that you want to read, also known as your TBR, all of the books that you've already read and their ratings. You can also have your reading challenge, and that little bar starts going up and it tells you how ahead or behind you are of your reading goal. I find myself reaching for Goodreads every single day. Again, not the best platform to use. They do have tons of updates to make. The site is very outdated, but again, love-hate relationship. I just can't seem to let go. And there are other alternatives now to Goodreads like Storygraph, which I have never personally used, but I know a lot of people are switching to Storygraph now. So maybe it's a tool to check out if you guys are kind of tired of Goodreads. And then last but not least, if I don't set reminders on Notion, I obviously use Google Calendar. Now, Google Calendar is also a fantastic tool that I personally use to write down the most important things that I need to do that day, especially when it's a project thing. You can just add people's emails, set that reminder for them too. That way everyone's reminded, and they also have a bunch of different tools like Google Meets and stuff, but I only use that one when I know that I absolutely need to do something. And yeah, that is how I organize my life, both personally and as a reader, how I personally set my goals and keep a track of them. So I hope this video was somewhat useful to all of you. Let me know down below what methods you use for your organization, whether you use Notion, whether you use a calendar, a bullet journal, or if you use any other methods. Let me know down below, because I am genuinely interested to know how you guys manage your time and amplify it to achieve the most that you can. If you reached the end of the video, make sure to leave down below some computer emojis, because I feel today's conversation was like very techy. It was all about planning, so I feel like computer is very fitting for that. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and you can subscribe down below for more bookish content. Again, I am constantly uploading videos that I'm sure you do not want to miss, as well as live streaming throughout the week, doing my weekly reading sprints. And you can also follow me on all of my social medias, which are always linked down below. I have an Instagram, Twitter, Goodreads, an Amazon wishlist, and a Ko-Fi, which I always forget to mention that I have. Ko-Fi, I don't know how to pronounce that, but if you ever want to donate to my channel, is reinvested on this channel for equipment, for books, anything to help improve it. So all of that is linked down below. Again, thank you so much to Skillshare for sponsoring this video. My link for Skillshare is linked down below. And yeah, I love you guys so much, and I will see you on the next one. Bye, guys.